Tidbits from TNT, Saturday, August 16, 2025. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. TNT. Tishwash. Trump's developments with Baghdad. A rapid withdrawal from Iraq before an imminent Israeli strike on Iran. After the U.S. troop withdrawal from Iraq was scheduled to be suspended after the October 11 elections, Iraqi executive and parliamentary sources told Al Arabi Al Jadid that a decision was made in Washington to accelerate the withdrawal of hundreds of troops from the large Ain al-Assad base in Anbar. This comes against the backdrop of escalating controversy between the Donald Trump administration and the Iraqi government over the Popular Mobilization Forces (PMF) law, which is no longer a secret. This is in addition to the successive explosion of numerous files, from the dollar to the smuggling of Iranian oil in Basra, as well as security agreements that Baghdad has recently been confused about. The sources expressed their fear that this is related to expectations that are becoming more serious by the day regarding the resumption of war between Iran and Israel, after experts stated that Iraq survived the previous war thanks to a heavy U.S. presence in major Iraqi bases. Al Arabi Al Jadid learned from Iraqi political and governmental sources that the U.S. administration has notified the government of Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudan of the imminent withdrawal of hundreds of U.S. soldiers and military personnel from the Ain al-Assad base in Anbar province, western Iraq. The withdrawal is related to the Iraqi-U.S. agreement, which stipulates the gradual withdrawal of U.S. forces operating under the cover of the international coalition fighting ISIS since 2014. However, other sources spoke of U.S. displeasure with the Iraqi government's failure to adhere to understandings and agreements with the U.S. administration. According to the sources, a senior advisor to the Iraqi government recently visited Washington and met with American officials, who informed him that the Iraqi government had not fulfilled its commitments to restrict the faction's weapons. The sources pointed out that the decision to withdraw a portion of U.S. forces comes in contravention of the previously agreed-upon timetable between Baghdad and Washington for a gradual withdrawal, which was supposed to take place after the parliamentary elections scheduled for next November, meaning it is an emotional response from the U.S. administration, expecting the withdrawal from Ain al-Assad base to begin next month. Ain al-Assad Air Base is located 200 kilometers west of Baghdad, near the Euphrates River in the town of al-Baghdadi, west of Anbar Governorate, and is the largest U.S. base in Iraq. Ain al-Assad Air Base currently houses hundreds of American soldiers and military personnel. Along with American forces, the base is shared with the Iraqi Army's 7th Division, part of the Badia and Al Jazeera Operations Command, which is responsible for Iraq's borders with Jordan and Syria, and parts of the border with Saudi Arabia. In this context, a member of the Iraqi parliament told Al Arabi Al Jadid, the United States is not satisfied with the performance of the Iraqi Prime Minister, and is exerting real pressure from all sides. Therefore, there must be real support for this government and prevent the continuation of American interference. He added to Al Arabi Al Jadid, the decision to withdraw American forces is expected, and may come within the framework of the security threat that may precede any expected Israeli operations in the coming period. We do not currently know whether the forces will withdraw towards the Harir or Al-Tanif bases, or perhaps to bases in the Gulf, but these hints are merely tools to pressure the current government. However, security expert Ahmed al-Sharifi pointed out, in an interview with Al Arabi Al Jadid, that the American and foreign forces present at the Ain al-Assad base are considered mobile forces, meaning they are not fixed and are constantly moving between three bases: Al-Tanif and Al-Omar in Syria, and Ain al-Assad in Iraq. Each of these bases is linked to the others, which means that the possibility of the withdrawal of American forces from the Ain al-Assad base may be linked to the movement or perhaps the final withdrawal. Baghdad and Washington had agreed, at the end of September last year, to an official date for the end of the international coalition's mission against ISIS in the country, no later than the end of September 2025. This date was reached after months of dialogue between the two sides. This came in the wake of escalating demands from armed factions and Iraqi forces allied with Iran to end its presence, particularly after the U.S. strikes at the time on the headquarters. of those factions in response to their attacks on coalition bases inside and outside the country, against the backdrop of the Gaza war. Tishwash. Rafidain Bank signs professional partnership agreement with K2 Integrity in Washington. In a new strategic step reflecting Iraq's growing financial presence on the international stage. The Embassy of the Republic of Iraq in Washington hosted the signing ceremony of a professional partnership agreement between Rafidain Bank and K2 Integrity, a US-based global leader in financial and regulatory consulting. The agreement is based on Iraqi Cabinet Resolution No. 23274 of 2023. Under the agreement, K2 Integrity will provide a comprehensive package of services, including anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing measures, the implementation of compliance systems in line with international standards, and the enhancement of regulatory infrastructure for Iraqi banks. This cooperation falls within the Iraqi government's strategy to build a strong and transparent financial sector capable of keeping pace with global economic transformations, reinforcing Iraq's position as a promising financial hub in the region. The Embassy of the Republic of Iraq in Washington emphasized that this partnership reflects the strength and continued growth of Iraq-US relations, particularly in the areas of economic diplomacy and strategic partnerships that support sustainable development. The embassy reaffirmed its commitment to further deepening these ties, advancing mutual interests, and expanding investment opportunities between the two countries. Tishwash. Hantush. Dismantling the parallel market is key to the dollar's return to 135,000. Financial researcher Mustafa Akram Hantush emphasized that addressing the exchange rate issue in Iraq requires working on two main aspects: reforming the banking system and dismantling the parallel market. He noted that any partial solutions will not be sufficient to achieve the desired stability. In an interview with Urida Platform, Hantush explained that the Iraqi banking system suffers from weak competition due to the limited sale of dollars to a limited number of banks, in addition to the fact that most of them face international sanctions. He indicated that the current cooperation with Oliver Wyman aims to find practical solutions and increase the bank's capital. He pointed out that reducing restrictions on the banking system and opening up competition in foreign remittances will contribute to market stability, noting that the other side of the solution is dismantling the parallel market linked to trade with Iran, where small traders and travelers to sanctioned countries operate. Hantush explained that possible solutions include agreeing with the U.S. Treasury Department on mechanisms for transferring funds, establishing three-way accounts for imported goods, and developing legal formulas for transferring funds to sanctioned countries via payment cards in their local currencies. He concluded by saying, controlling the parallel market could restore the dollar exchange rate to 135,000 dinars per $100, if these steps are implemented comprehensively. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: dinarrecaps.com